or affiliates.
Welcome to Soccer in 60, presented by the Empire Strykers. Get ready for your weekly look at all the pro soccer teams in Greater Los Angeles. We've got all the news and analysis you need, from LAFC and the LA Galaxy to the Empire Strykers, Angel City FC, and Orange County Soccer Club. Now, buckle up and enjoy Soccer in 60.
Welcome to Soccer in 60, everybody. It is your host, Tiki Tim Kolotz. I'm back from a little Tiki sabbatical for a couple of weeks. I spent some time enjoying some friends and some new friends. And now we're back to your favorite Thursday soccer footy show, Soccer in 60. With me today, because our other normal co-host is gallivanting around Europe somewhere. Watch out, Europe, London, everywhere. But with me today is Nina Kiefer, half of the Angel City Chicks podcast. Nina, welcome to Soccer in 60.
Thanks for having me again, Tim. I'm glad to see I haven't been kicked off the show, and I'm here with you today. For everyone, thanks everyone for joining us live on 1490 AM and 98.1 FM in much of the Inland Empire, as well as the KMET app or KMET1490am.com. We're also always live on Empire Strykers Instagram and YouTube. And if you don't catch the show live, you can always catch us on demand at Empire Strykers YouTube and searching Soccer in 60 on all major podcast platforms. We're going to get you up to speed today on some recent and upcoming games by Angel City, LAFC, the LA Galaxy, Orange County SC, and Empire Strykers. But Tim and I got something extra special for you guys planned. We're going to dive into Olympics, the youth movement at Angel City, upcoming USA versus Mexico indoor soccer rivalry clash, some recent player acquisitions by the LA area MLS teams, and that's possible impact on North American soccer and possibly some salary cap implications. Plenty of fun to come on Soccer in 60 today.
Yeah, it's going to be a ripper of a show. And not only are we going to talk about the youth movement at the MLS level, but there's also a youth movement at the USL level with Orange County Soccer Club. So let's dive right into it. Nina, why don't you take over and just pile into LAFC and talk about the last couple of games and what we got cooking for coming up.
Yeah, we've had some fun with LAFC. They're moving into the Leagues Cup round of 16 with a 2-0 win over Austin FC last night at BMO Stadium. Denny Buwanga and Kike Oliveira scored on either side of halftime, and Hugo Lloris made 5 saves for his second Leagues Cup shutout in just as many appearances. Let's get into how those goals went down. Denny Buwanga opens up the scoring for LAFC in the 11th minute against the run of play. LAFC goalkeeper was Hugo Lloris was able to make a nice save from a shot, and he quickly punted the ball forward over an Austin defender and into the path of the ever-fast Denny Buwanga, who was racing down that left wing. Buwanga outran that Austin defense, fired a low right-footed shot to give LAFC a 1-0 advantage, and Lloris gets credit for his first assist in an LAFC uniform. You know, you love this counter-attacking style of soccer, Tim. It's a real fun one. And as LAFC continues to play with their formations, I love to see them experimenting with how to score. And against a very defensive Austin who doesn't want the ball, to catch them off guard like that on the counter, chef's kiss, beautiful. Get it, Reese.
Yeah, it was great to see that. And you're exact in that Hugo gets up and just rips that ball out to an onrushing Buwanga. And for him to bury that ball, nice right-footed shot, just puts it away. And for Hugo to get an assist, we talked with a couple of MLS keepers earlier this year on the show. You know, we had Johnny Mack on, and we talked about that. We asked about what they're doing when they control that ball after a save. And there you go with Hugo, just putting one on a dime out to Buwanga for an early score.
Yep, and the score stayed that way until about the hour mark when Oliveira, who came on as a halftime substitute, actually doubled the lead for LAFC. Buwanga started the attack near midfield, and he played that pass to Matty Bogusz. Bogusz was able to cut inside the left wing and thread a pass into the box for Oliveira, who took one touch before hitting a right-footed shot that got deflected past the keeper. Kind of a lucky goal, kind of just a power move there, but you got a 2-0 lead for LAFC, and we know 2-0 can be the most dangerous lead in all all sports, but especially in soccer. It's when home teams or winning teams can get complacent and things can change quickly. And it tried. It tried to change. Austin ended up having a goal, but thank God for all the LAFC fans in the audience. That was called back and offside. And that is how the score ended, 2-0. And with that, LAFC are going to advance to the next round. But let's talk a little bit about a fun stat here. So in Leagues Cup games, Denny Bouanga has 8 goals and 6 assists. He has registered a goal or an assist in all 6 matches. That is a power move. That is MVP of Leagues Cup material from Denny Bouanga.
Yeah, you just watch him. I mean, you just watch him during the regular season, but you put him in a tournament, you put him in a Leagues Cup, and he's just bombs away to have, averaging over a goal a game and, at an assist per appearance. I mean, that is unbelievable. And Denny Bouanga, we've talked about this for months on the show, that he is a goal scoring machine, and he just gets fired up and plays in this Leagues Cup.
Yeah. And, we don't know who LAFC is going to face next, so we don't have much of a preview to give you. It's going to be decided soon. It's either going to be San Jose Earthquakes or Nexaca from the Liga MX side. So we'll find out soon. But the next regular season game for LAFC is going to be August 24th at Vancouver. The next game for Leagues Cup is going to be August 13th at BMO. We will find out soon who we are hosting there. But let's talk about some big questions of the night. So I understand fully that people make plans ahead of time, but LAFC only drew 12,930 people for a Wednesday night game. Now, this is just 3 days after it was announced. Sunday they say, hey, we got a game, and it's not included in the season ticket package. It does cost extra. But in a 22,000 person stadium, 12,930 people showed up. Tim, what do you think that means?
I think it means a couple of things. I think it means that it's tough because it's summertime. I mean, look at me in Philly. I've been gone for a couple of weeks. Philly's gone for a couple of weeks. Summertime is hard to do it. And then when you don't know who the teams are, right? And so Austin plays in the MLS, good solid team. But to draw 12,000 fans is kind of a bummer, right? Even when you are putting together ticket packages, even when they are less expensive. I think it needs to be that there's a marker inside of your season ticket package that says, hey, if we're going to be in these League Cups, you get the first 2 games free, and then the next ones are $25 a piece or something like that, so you can put butts in seats, because it's just difficult on a Wednesday night to get people to go to BMO and put more than 12,000 people in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to also mention the elephant in the room, something major at BMO. And I'm not just talking about a very attractive Frenchman, the grass, the turf for this game. BMO had hosted an incredible boxing match just days earlier, and the turf left something that I think everyone could have wanted more. It definitely did not look as attractive as our new French signing. Does this also play a factor? Do people not show up? Do they not care if the turf is looking like this? I feel like it was a full turf replacement, just looking at how it was stripped. And I know for a fact that LAFC keeps a spare turf hiding somewhere on a farm in wine country.
Right.
So did we ship in? Is this brand new turf? And it just takes time. And, the quality wasn't as bad as how much it looked bad.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of aesthetics on TV, because aesthetics, adds a lot more clarity to the field, just like the camera adds 10 pounds, but not to me and my svelte self. But I think it is doing kind of a disservice, because if it was a full field replacement, it only had 3 days or 4 days to sit there and kind of grow into the dirt, which it won't, because it takes weeks. If you're a greenskeeper, groundskeeper, these things. It's like when you aerate and resod a green on a golf course. It takes a month to fix. Same thing here. It's why that they try and bring in a couple of inches of sod too, below the dirt, and so it sits in. But it's brand new. It's going to shift a little bit, and that's kind of what you're dealing with. And for this level of a match, I'm worried about the players, right?
Mhm.
Long-term MLS season, the whole bit. The League's Cup is great, but it's a little tough on the players to be playing on a fresh, brand new turf like that.
Absolutely. And it definitely left something to be wanted in terms of visuals on the pitch. But let's talk about the actual beauty in the building. Let's talk about
Absolutely.
Olivier Giroud. He was there. He was hanging out with Will Ferrell. He was just down the corner. Don't tell Amanda, Christian, Philly's wife, that Giroud actually made his way up into where we sit, and we got pretty close. I didn't have the guts to say hi or anything. I
Oh,
fangirled from
come on, Nina. Come
but
on.
Giroud was in the building, not in the 18, but in the building. And we got to talk about when we think we're going to see him, because the next MLS game is 8:24 against Vancouver on carpet. So I doubt we're going to see him then. 8:13, home again at BMO. I'm really hoping that we are seeing Giroud in the 18 and he makes his debut then. But this brings up a bigger question that, Tim, I want to debate with you. Let's
Mhm.
talk about salary caps. Let's talk about
Yeah.
what it means with all these signings, because now there's rumors about LAFC having a potential third Frenchman to join them over here, and that's going to cost a pretty penny. We've got salary caps to contend with. We've got things that stand in the way of one team, Miami, running away with all of the great Miami and all of the fun Miami.
Yeah, I think it's an issue. I know that MLS has grown. If you go back to 2017, you're only talking 18, 20 teams, right? But you look at with that, you go look back at those, and you look at the class franchises of the league, LA Galaxy, LAFC. You look at these guys, but you take a team like San Jose, who doesn't have that type of money. Since 2017, they've ended up at the bottom of the league 3 different times, dead
Mhm.
bottom basement, because they don't have the cash to do it. And yet here they sit. They've only made the playoffs twice in the last six seasons.
Yeah.
So the disparity is jumping out. And then now with the value of these clubs going through the roof and getting 250 million for a franchise these days. I mean, it's serious money. And I think it's the have and the have nots. There's no middle class, right? There's not the parity that I think the league really kind of wants and needs.
hmm I disagree with you and agree with you at the same time, because I think I'm going to say something different than you. And I do think you're right
Awesome.
that there is a disparity, but I think Miami's getting everything they want and that the league salary caps aren't necessarily applying to them. And I also do feel, we don't want to be the quintessential retirement league that MLS has always been known as. But if you don't put money out there, people aren't going to come. We're not going to get that high level veteran talent that then also attracts some of our younger players who then see somebody and they say, I want to be the next Giroud. I want to be the next Carlos Vela. I want to be the next Hugo Lloris. So if
Right.
we're not willing to put the money out there, if teams are able to finance it, isn't there some argument for the US is capitalistic? If the team can finance it, let them finance it.
Absolutely. I agree with you that if they're capitalistic, fantastic, go out and get them. I just worry about the bottom end of the league, right? And
Mhm.
that's just my idea is that, hey, LA can do it because LA's got 12 million people that'll come see it. New York also holds 2 teams. They don't
Yeah.
always play in New York, but we'll have that conversation on a different day. But I think you're right. I think if you can finance it, get after it, because that's the great American way. Hey, if you can't afford it, finance it.
All right. Note to MLS, get rid of the salary caps. You heard it from Tiki Tim. He has ruled on the matter. And with that, we turn to the other LA MLS team, LA Galaxy, for a quick recap on them.
Yeah, so they're also in League's Cup, and they played Chivas this past Sunday, and not the one that used to share Dignity Sports Health Park with them. It's the big Chivas. It's Chivas de Guadalajara, and we talk a lot of tactics on this show. We talk about lineups, we talk about how they're setting up their structure, and the Galaxy showed up with a 3-4-2-1 structure. You talked about LAFC and changing into a new layout, a new format. Where's the high nine, or they're playing a low nine, stuff like that. And Chivas comes out with a 4-1-4-1 that we see a lot in Orange County, right? Just trying to make sure that high line is got some backup with some high midfielders and then a very high nine. And the fireworks are big right away. There's 2 goals and 4 yellow cards in the first half. This was definitely a highlight reel package and a lot of hard tackling. Chivas ended the game with 15 fouls. The Galaxy had 7 fouls, so a little bit of a rough and tumble game. But with a advancement on the line, you're going to see that. And Alan Mozo of Chivas and Joseph Paintstill of the Galaxy, they get the party going just 11 minutes in with a goal apiece. Mozo comes in with an eighth minute goal. And it's kind of funny because that goal was directly related to not having that 4th defender. It was one of those things where the ball was loose and Allen's in a perfect spot and nobody's home to get him. And he just buries one. And, they're up 1-0 just 8 minutes in, right?
Not the position you want to be in, definitely. And it's interesting that you point out the 3 caused the problem in the back, because you would think with 3-4, you've got 7 essentially playing more defensive tactics. So somebody definitely screwed up there in that situation.
Yeah, you're not dropping back. We see this, and I'll mention it later on in the show with Orange County, but they're not having that 4th, that truer, rear midfielder type of player. They're not dropping back. They're not fully embracing, hey, I have to go track that guy that's kind of wide open at 12 yards out, 12 yards and inside the box. But, yeah, go ahead, Nina.
I was going to say totally opposite of the LAFC game where Murillo was playing center back and kept finding himself in the number 9 position. And we were all sitting there going, why are you up
there? Exactly. But Paintstill pulls one back just a couple of minutes later. And this is a great one. Pooch puts this ball and he's free because there's only one guy playing, this midfield spot. And Pooch is all by himself. Ricky makes a great pass out to the right-hand side to Cuevas. And Cuevas one-times this thing and puts it right on Paintstill's feet. And he just buries it because everybody's over on the far left side of the box. And Joseph's all by himself. And he puts it in, and it's 1-1 just, 11 minutes into this game. So it's great. Everybody's having a good time. And we end up at halftime 1-1. And the second half, it gets a little spicy. There's still a couple of extra yellow cards. There's a couple of goals. Pack makes a brilliant, takes a brilliant goal. And then in stoppage time, in the first minute of stoppage time, there's a beautiful cross. And it hits Cade Cowell's head. And Cade Cowell makes this great, is this great header. And keeper's out of luck, But with that, the Novak Mikovic is playing keeper for the Galaxy this game. And Novak has made brilliant save after brilliant save. It could have been easily 3 or 4 goals for Chivas, but Novak is just playing out of his mind. And then it gets into penalties. The game ends 2-2 and they go to penalties. And again, player of the match in my mind, right? Novak Mikovic. He's just stellar, and they win 5-4 in penalties. He makes the saving, makes a great save on the final kick from Chivas to put the Galaxy into the next round.
Yeah. There we go. LA all the way.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have those teams doing well.
Right. And so one of the things, and we've talked about this a lot, the stepping up for a penalty, right? Being a referee, having played for as long as I did, you as the shooter have the advantage. The keeper is cooked, really. The keeper has a 1 in 5 chance of really making a strong save unless you telegraph where that shot's going. If you make a good, strong shot, you're doing it right. And it was proven in this because there was only a couple of saves in this penalty shootout. Everybody was pretty much scoring, and that's the way it should be. And so, you refereed. I mean, you watched this game. You watched at least the highlights. I mean, especially the penalties. I mean, how'd you feel about the people taking the penalties?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've gotten the pleasure of seeing a lot of PKs taken recently between Summer Cup with NWSL and Leagues Cup with MLS, and they're all going straight to penalties. So first and foremost, I love that we have eliminated this extra time, like extra 30 minutes, because I think it just prolongs injuries and makes things awful. But I do think that PKs now are being taken a little more seriously as well in that sense, because you're having to just fire your shot home. I think when we were playing the little extra time, people's shots weren't as strong. They weren't as powerful. Keepers had a better chance. And you're right. It is just a guessing game for keepers. We can say all day long that statistics tell us you're going to go this way. And that's what we tell the keepers. We say, okay, you've got so-and-so coming up to the ball, go right. You take that chance and you just hope, essentially.
Right.
So it's kind of still the flip of a coin, but there's a big mental game with PKs, and you have to, like you said, as the kicker, not telegraph. We've seen so many clips lately of the no look PK. I'm just staring straight ahead and never looking down at the ball. And I think this is the new era of PKs. It's more mind games than anything else, more mind games than talent, more mind games than saves. Put some power on it and let it rip.
Right. And as a coach, because I've done a lot of stuff in soccer. I played for a long time. I refereed for over 10 years and coached my kids growing up and the things like that. And we would practice penalties. And one of the things was I would teach the kids, it's like, look, I don't care where you're going to hit it. And you hit it hard, but the goal was to put it at least mid goal. And if you could put it upper 90, you were going to ruin a keeper. The keeper can never get to the upper 90. The other thing is you go up and you don't hit it weakly. You don't go up and everybody can do. I can't remember the exact name, but I was just watching them the other night. The Pachenko, the Plinko, the Palinka.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Just a little cheeky shot, like, I'm just going to dribble it in after you already move.
But I think what it is that you really, in those PKs, especially in this, the Chivas Galaxy game, everybody came up and made a strong shot, right? Mikovic, was very, he was right place, right time, and he's a very strong keeper, so he's able to block out a nice hard shot. I think the reality is that most of these penalty shootouts should go 8 or 9 deep. I mean, they really should.
Oh, that's a hot take. Not just 5. You want to get through the lineup.
No,
I think everyone on the pitch to take their shot.
No, I think I misstated that. I think what it is I think it should be best of 5 and then sudden death like it is.
I don't know. I kind of like this. Everyone on the pitch gets a try.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be kind of fun.
I don't mind that at all. Don't give me your best. Give me everyone. Your whole team has to win this.
Exactly. And I think the keeper should be really taking more of these shots. I really do, because the keeper is going to have the hardest shot out of anybody out on the field. They're going to come up and they're just going to rip this thing as hard as they can. And I think the keeper should be taking a bunch more of these shots, just from a vantage point of, because it's keeper, you talk about mind games, and that the keeper is just going to hit that thing as hard as he possibly can. And, it's going to stay low because he's going to want to rip it at the keeper and go, I'm going to get you.
Yeah, definitely. Tim, as we talk about Leagues Cup and we talk about PKs and everything, we have to answer the question as we move to the round of 32 and the round of 16. Do we like Leagues Cup? Do we even like this?
I think it's hard because, as we're going to talk about, the Galaxy take on Seattle in just a couple of hours, right? Game time is 7:30 tonight up at Lumen Field. They played them to a 0-0 draw, and the Galaxy have gotten a 1-0 win this year. Leagues Cup is tough for me because you're playing the same teams, right? You're playing Seattle, you're playing Austin, it's not like the Lamar, the U.S. Open
Cup.
Cup,
Yeah.
where you get to have some of these, true underdogs. I think the League's Cup is fine, but I mean, how many times can you see this? You got the CONCACAF Champions League. You got, some of these, it's like over in Europe, you got the Club World Cup and stuff like that. Okay, how many tournaments do we really need, and how much stress and are we putting on these teams when the true bottom line is, hey, we want to win MLS Cup, right?
Yeah.
Or, so it's those types of things. So I know why we do it. I'm just not as big a fan as maybe somebody else is.
No, I think that's fair. I do feel it sometimes like it's a cash grab. I love having some of these Liga MX teams get the opportunity to come out here and play, but we don't go to them. Like, I think it would be different if it was true home and away. Having it all in the United States just underlines for me the fact that it is a true cash grab. And, I'll take the exposure, I'll take the extra play, but there's hardware at stake and we're competitive and everyone in US wants to win.
No, and I get it. And I'd want to win trophies too. I mean, that's part of why you compete, right? It's not always for the dough. It's like, hey, I beat everybody else. I'm number one, right? And that's kind of what we're about, right? We want to be number one. We have that inherent need or inherent want, for the most part, is to be saying, I'm better than you. So,
yep.
And talking about
the number one in our life, Empire Strykers.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. So the Empire Strykers, they're still on summer break, right? But they got a ton of stuff going on. They've got the upcoming season. There's been a lot on social media. You watch social media, you see some of the things in the comments, because there's been a lot of, the face of the franchise right now is Marco Fabian. And yes, Marco Fabian will be with the Strikers this season. He signed a 2-year contract, right? So this is great stuff. So the expectation is that not only will Marco continue his golden boot, from last year, is the expectation is that he continues forth with that. And then having guys like Meat, as he likes to now be called, Mijatovic, and Justin Stinson, and they re-signed their goalkeeper from a couple of years ago. The team is going to be, the product is going to be a lot better. And will they finish last in the league this coming season? Not a chance. They will be in the playoffs. I'll guarantee it right today on August 8th, the Strikers will make the playoffs, and they're going to get in. They're going to do some damage this year because the coaching is going to continue to improve. The players are going to continue to improve. And I think it's just going to be a lot of fun to watch the Strikers this season.
Yeah, I mean, the Strikers definitely invest a lot in young talent. If you've got kids in the Inland Empire, they're hosting a youth summer camp, $99, ages 6 to 18, August 23rd through 24th. It's going to be an incredible opportunity to get some really amazing talent and to get some good education for your kids in terms of soccer. MASL is different than outdoor soccer. It's its own beast. It's quicker. It's more fast paced. It's more high scoring. And I think your one touch, your ability, your skill on the ball is called a little more into question with that. But if you think you have what it takes to make the MASL, if you are over 18 and you're ready to start your professional career, make sure you sign up for the MASL Combine happening in San Diego, October 26th through 29th. As Philly would say, put your money where your mouth is. This is your opportunity to shine. And, it's going to be an incredible opportunity. You can sign anywhere in the U.S. If you're feeling frisky and you want to fly away to Philadelphia. I just did a little Philly alliteration there for you. Got to bring it for you. Go on down and try. Why not? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Thank you, Wayne Gretzky and Michael Scott.
Right, exactly. And we've actually had fans of the show reach out to me recently and say, when is the Combine? And it's going to be amazing. It's going to be at San Diego's brand new arena at Front Wave Arena. It's going to be incredible. And the arena is specifically designed as a small venue for major indoor soccer. A couple other A couple other things are going to be taken there, but the San Diego Sockers are going to be part of that. They are the lead attraction at the new arena. So if you think you can, go out there and say, I can keep up with these guys, hey, friggin' come on down to Front Wave Arena and try your luck, man, because that tryout is going to be incredible.
Absolutely.
And like you said, you just mentioned that when I really started talking to some of the players, I asked them always, why are they stopping the ball with the bottom of their foot? Whereas outdoors, typically you're taking it with the inside of your foot and you're going out and moving around. And he says specifically is that there's no space. You have no space and no time. So you better have the ball right on your feet. And the best way to do it, because there's no studs on the bottom of an indoor soccer cleat, is that the ball stops immediately and you can immediately make the next pass. So
I love that.
Just take that, young kids that want to go out and start playing indoor soccer, that take that as a little bit of advice from old Uncle Tiki Tim.
Love it. And, if you want to come out and watch some top tier MASL talent, USA versus Mexico on September 29th. The women will play at 1:30, the men at 4:30, all at Toyota Arena. Make sure you go on Ticketmaster and get your tickets now. It's going to be an incredible thrill. I'll be there. Tim will be there. Philly will be there. You're going to get the doctor. You're going to get Panda. Gunner, our producer, is going to be there. So make sure you join us, all of your Soccer in 60 fam there. What do you think, Tim? Should we move to Angel City?
Yeah, absolutely. What's going on with Angel City? I know that there's been a lot of stuff going on lately.
Angel City has been keeping us busy. We actually have 2 games of Summer Cup to recap. So I'm going to get through these real quick. We had our matchup against our SoCal rival, San Diego Wave, and we won via shootout. 5-4, thanks to a save by Didi Herachich. Like we said, PKs all the way, but let's dive into this match. Didi got challenged pretty early from close range and was able to make several great saves, but Angel City also really held tight in their defense, focusing on quick transition plays. Their best chances of the half came very late, starting with a 45th minute shot by forward Claire Emsley. That play started with defender Jasmine Spencer taking the ball end line and sending it back across the 18, looking for some late runners. Her ball was deflected and rolled to the penalty arc, and Emsley was able to connect, but she sent that shot high. Messiah Bright made an impressive attempt late into stoppage time, sprinting onto a long ball from midfielder Kennedy Fuller, beating out Abby Dahlkemper into the box, but her shot sailed off target. The half got off to a slow start for the second half, and there was a unheard of interruption that doesn't happen very often in major sports. The sprinklers came on a minute and a half into the second half, totally took out our girl Madison Hammond, who just was standing super close to it, got soaked, and it took them a solid 2 to 3 minutes to correct this situation. So just hilarious incidents in professional women's soccer. Groundskeeper? I don't know.
Yeah, I think kind of like Bull Durham, they were trying to get a rain out, but yeah, you've got to have that together, to be able to have those sprinklers come on. I mean, come on, talk about a wet blanket on the start to the half, come on.
Yeah,
you knew I was going to go there, Nina.
I'll say Kennedy Fuller, our youngest player at 17 years old, looked the least thrilled with the sprinkler. She was ready to kill that game. But in the 89th minute, the entry heard round the league, the return of Kristen Press. Her entrance into the game marks her first time she had set foot on a field in a professional soccer game in 782 games after she sustained a torn ACL facing Racing Louisville in 2022. It was great. Her little entry, she's like, that would be a good time to sub me on now. I love Kristen Press's attitude. It was great to see her back on the pitch, even if it was only for a few minutes. We got the final whistle and went straight to a penalty shootout, which Angel City were able to win 5-4. Kristen Press made her penalty kick along with Emsley Thompson, Rocky Rodriguez, and the 17-year-old Kennedy Fuller. made the final kick with an emphatic strike to the upper left corner. And with that, they went on to the Summer Cup semifinal, which has already taken place. Let's just dive into this. We faced off against New York, New Jersey, Gotham, as Tim alluded to earlier. New York and New Jersey, not the same state, but we call them the same, at least in the NWSL. The one team takes both states. And here we go. It was a sad game, quite honestly. Only one goal, no PKs for this one, but the first half was largely a defensive chess match with few real scoring opportunities. Angel City got a look in the 19th minute, and the only goal of the game came in the second half, the 48th minute. Midfielder Yasmin Ryan received a long lofted ball just outside of the 18, laid it back to Delaney Sheehan as she made a run into the box. Sheehan settled the ball, took a few steps, and sent a right-footed shot sailing inside the back post. Angel City tried to stay in the game. They created some chances, but Gotham's goalkeeper came up big. And at the end, the final whistle, shot tally was 6-11 in Angel City's favor. And other than that lone goal, both teams really just maintained a very solid defensive structure. I want to highlight, though, Angel City only missing one player to the Olympics, Allie Riley, who unfortunately was ruled out pretty early on in her Olympic career for an injury. But Gotham, they have everyone gone. So a little sad to me that Angel City wasn't able to pull this out, because even though the Summer Cup final is a ways down the road, I think it could have been a really awesome moment for them. So Angel City out of Summer Cup. The Summer Cup continues on October 25th. Well past the end of summer. We're going to call this the Summer Cup Fall Camp Reunion. And Gotham will be taking on KC. Current Angel City is out, but they will be playing Juarez, who unfortunately were not in the Summer Cup. So another Liga MX team coming on over and challenging us. It's going to be a nice friendly match here on Sunday, August 18th. Juarez currently sitting in 12th place, not necessarily one of the best teams in their league currently, but Angel City, we could kind of sometimes say the same about them. So we'll see how this goes. I'm really hoping Angel City can come out and take this one home. It's the kind of the boost we need, especially knowing that we're going to be seeing San Diego Wave for actual NWSL League play on August 24th away at San Diego, which is definitely going to be a harder game for them.
Yeah, for sure. Now, with that upcoming game, I think it's a good time to get a little healthy, right? To kind of turn on, they had a decent, Angel City has had a good Summer Cup. They played very strong, very well. They won at the game I was at Cal State Fullerton. That was a fun one because that was right around the corner from the house. So that worked out reasonably well for me. But my concern about Summer Cup is that it doesn't have Summer Cup, right? Because it's the final. Wait, we do all this fun stuff. And now it's no, I got to wait for 3 more months to go watch the final.
Yeah, as if we couldn't find another day. Like, did everyone pull out their calendars? Like, how about August 26th? No, no one's available. August 27th? No, still no. We can't have these superfluous extra competitions and not be able to wrap them up in a timely manner. It just does such a disservice. You're not going to build momentum. Everyone's going to stop caring. I've already stopped caring.
Right. And I think that's one of the key, right? Is because you have these Summer Cups, you have this Leagues Cup, I get it over in Europe with the FA Cup final and it's all this stuff, but there is such a following to it. If you're going to put on a tournament and it's going to be a 4-week tournament while the Olympics are on and there's just a good break in the in the schedule, it's one more game. Right? Why is Angel City playing a friendly this on the 18th, right? And not playing again for until they meet the San Diego Wave. You can have that Summer Cup final. You can promote the heck out of it. You can have 6 or 8 days off between those two games, right? And between the end of between the semis and the final, then you can promote it. Have it in a have it at somebody's home stadium, have tickets be $10 a piece.
Yeah. And
Fill
I'll
the
say,
joint.
I think the only reason Summer Cup is going to be successful this year is because it's KC Current at their home stadium versus Gotham, who are the two best teams in the league right now. Like, other
Right.
than OL Pride, these are two fantastic teams with great following. KC Current has been on a tear since they got their new stadium, and Gotham has all of our Olympians on it. So that's the only reason I feel like this is going to be successful. It doesn't actually show what it's going to do for the next years of if this continues. But I think
Right.
we need to stop having these made up competitions, because especially when we look at Summer Cup, how do you have 5 groups and only 4 people make it to the finals? Like,
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, you and Philly talked about that last week. That is just comical. I mean, somebody without any common sense would putting that thing together. I mean, if you're going to have 5 groups, have the best team, have the team with the best deal, get a bye, do something,
yeah,
take the second best team, whatever it is. But you gotta have all 5 winners get rewarded. Then why are you doing it again?
mhm.
Why do I care? Right? I
Yeah,
could
and
go.
it was exactly like we thought. The group A, where it was the most competitive, where everyone was having a win and a draw and a loss, they were the ones that had nobody. They had the toughest group apparently, and no one got out of it. So good for
Right,
Angel City, because that made us get through. But
right.
there's got to be a better way to organize these things. But apparently, scheduling is always an issue. Tim,
Yeah,
I transition to something else that's kind of a hot button topic. In this segment, I've actually covered several teams with one true characteristic in common. They're
yep.
all signing incredibly young players. San Diego Wave has Barcenas, who is scoring
Mhm.
incredible goals for them and challenging on the field. Angel City has Kennedy Fuller at 17 years old, and Gotham just signed a 13-year-old to a professional contract. What are
Mhm.
your thoughts? What age is too young for a professional contract?
Um, so the question I really have is, does that really dictate the quality of player in the league that a 13-year-old can come in and play? And if a 13-year-old come and play, she's either the greatest player on the planet or the teams are stretching for talent. And it's hard to determine. Now, Kennedy Fuller, 17-year-old, Angel City, playing very well.
Mhm.
But you look at that and it's hard. It would be hard for me to send a 13-year-old player out there against a Kristen Press, right?
Yeah.
Because Kristen Press isn't going to care, or any of these other players are going to care that you're 13. You have the ball, I want it,
Yeah.
and I'm going to take you out, right? I'm going to do it in a nice, clean, beautiful slide tackle, but you're 13 and you're going to fly away like a twig in the wind. And I'm concerned about that. The development is difficult. We saw this with some of MLS. We see it this year with MLS that signed with the kid that's going to play for Manchester United the day that he turns 18.
Mhm.
He made his debut in Philly a couple of weeks ago. Um, where's the development? Or that's what we're worried about. I'm concerned.
I totally agree. I think that there's a place for these players, and I think it's a youth academy. I think that, quite honestly, I feel like until you're 16, you don't have the muscle, the height, the body development necessarily to play in a professional league. And you see this with NFL, with football. They make
Yeah,
everybody go do like a year of college just because you're just not big enough. And I feel like that you can sign to a professional contract, you can have intent to play, but I
mhm.
do think that we need to check ourselves on how early we're signing some of these people. They need to be in youth academies with players their own age, or at least their own
Right.
size.
Yeah. And as we transition out of Angel City and into Orange County, we can continue on that exact same path, because Orange County just recently signed a youth. They signed 16-year-old defender Pedro Gamares, and while he has played internationally at the youth under 15 and under 16, that's a perfect place for him to go. Orange County Soccer Club has made a habit, and I mean a habit, of bringing in players that are part of that youth movement. Ashton Miles, for one. Bryce Jamison for another. And there's a few more players that they've done this for. We talk about Duran Ferree, who made his debut earlier this season. These are younger players, but they're at that level, and USL is a very high, very good competitive league, a lot of former MLS players, but it's the perfect place to develop.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to develop at the higher levels. So with that, we can talk a little bit about this last game. Orange County, we had Nina and Philly head coach had Coach Paul Hardiman on last week. I've listened to that interview 3 different times because Coach Hardiman is just an engaging fellow. He is great. The wealth of knowledge coming out of that guy is unbelievable, from having played in an FA Cup final to now being the head coach of Orange County. The players on Orange County are very fortunate to have a coach of his caliber come and play with them. He's been with the coaching staff since 2021 when they went and won the USL championship. And he made a couple of things, and this is where Orange County is going to be really, really well positioned for the rest of the season. It's been well known that they've had, it's been a laundry list of guys that have been sitting on the injured list, Thomas Amon, Cameron Dunbar, Foxy, Alaski right now. And they've lost a fair amount of talent, the other Alaski last year. They've had a lot of talent go away and a lot of talent this season get injured. But a lot of these guys, Amon, and some of these other guys that have been sitting on the injured list are coming back by the end of the month or first part of September. They are going to be rearing and rocking and ready to go for the playoffs. So with that, North Carolina came in, and unfortunately for the Orange County boys, they with that many people out of the lineup, it's hard to be consistent. It's hard to be playing with the same guys. And Carolina came in with a 4-4-2 lineup too. We've seen a lot of 4-1-4-1 out of the Orange County boys. And with this time around, putting in a 4-4-2 could have made a really good idea, right? And Carolina was in a 4-4-2 too, right? So what do you think, Nina? What do you think about those lineups, and especially with the change after what we talked about last week with Coach?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting change. A 4-1-4-1 is a very attacking minded. It's strong defensively, but it's putting a lot of emphasis on, I think, the counter essentially, and the ability and speed of your team, and the ability for everyone to play a little more box to box. You're going to see a little more engagement, and that definitely transitions well into how you're training players and how you're developing them, because the speed and agility you need in order to create those opportunities. And for that one player, he's going to up top, I find myself drawn more to the one in the midfield, the like holding, the sweeper, the everything like that. And, it's one of those things where I like a 4-1-4-1. I'm very intrigued by this choice.
Yeah, so was I, because, and we've talked about it in the past, right? We've got a lot of the Orange County defense, especially some of their wing backs will take chances, right? And kind of force the play up, which is great. Owen Lamb does it really well. Unfortunately, when some of the defense goes up, they don't always get back on defense, like we saw in the Galaxy game, right? You're going to leave a guy hanging out to dry,
yeah,
right? But one of the things that happened in this game, the Carolina came out and was, even though they were in this 4-4-2, they played a very attacking style. We're only 25 minutes in. They've already had 3 corners, including in the 27th minute, when the only goal of the game comes from a corner kick, right? So Michael Maldonado had taken the previous couple of corner kicks, and one of them almost made it into the back of the net on a cross to the far post. Well, this time Maldonado puts one brilliant corner to the near post, and it finds the head of Justin Malou, and Justin makes no doubt. I mean, he puts it far post, side netting. Poor goalkeeper Tomas Thomas Gomez has no chance, and it's in the back of the net, and it was beautiful. I mean, it really was a piece of work, right? You hate to say that against, the Orange County boys, but it was a very nice goal.
Yeah. Those set piece goals, I want to touch on that a little bit later after we get through the Orange County segment, because I've got thoughts brewing for our miscellaneous segment coming up. So make sure you're staying with us. But set piece goals can be brutal. They're clinical. They're chess matches, quite honestly. My favorite set piece goal of all time has to be an Alex Morgan one where she wasn't even involved in the play and she just dragged the defenders out. So when we talk about the ways you score, that is definitely one of the ones, you should dedicate a practice a day to. Are you practicing the set pieces and your service into the box? It comes into it with crosses, it comes into it with corners, and it's the most, I'd say, technically easy way to get a goal.
Yeah. And with that, let's talk about their next game. So they play tomorrow night in Oklahoma. And they go out and see, they're going to go out and they're going to face FC Tulsa. Tulsa is 3-2-4 at home, and Orange County is only 3-7-2 on the road. But Orange County sits ahead of them in the standings, but only by 2 points. So the biggest thing that the Orange County boys are going to have to do is to stay in that playoff hunt. They're going to have to get Zubak and Jameson, Ethan and Bryce to really start scoring goals. Coach Hardiman talked about this last week. The defense is short up since he's taken over. They've only allowed a few goals since he's taken over in the past several games, but they haven't been able to find the net on a consistent basis. So that's going to be the trick to winning at Tulsa, because again, like we've seen in the past, and Orange County has showed us, 3 out of 12 on the road for wins. It's tough to win on the road, even in the USL.
It's tough to win on the road anywhere, but you're right. We're hoping they can bring it home, though. I think they've got a great opportunity here. Lots of momentum potentially behind them with the recent changes. It was great to talk to Coach last week, and I'm excited to see everything they do. I think they're going to truly be able to develop some new talent that will land its way into the MLS and possibly beyond in Europe. And, with that, we just continue to grow U.S. soccer overall. And, with that, should we talk about some U.S. soccer athletes?
You bet. Let's get into it. What's going on where U.S. soccer athletes have been making a show of themselves lately?
My goodness, Olympic watch continues, as we look forward, of course, to the World Cup as it comes to LA. We're also looking overseas, not just saying goodbye to Philly and Panda as they travel the world, but as our Olympians continue, at least on the women's side, to do what they do best. I'm going to start off with women. Let's start off with the U.S. Olympics for our soccer team. They are doing well. They are continuing and advancing. They are in for the final. It's going to be gold or silver for our girls on October. Wow. On August 10th, Saturday, August 10th, they're going to be facing off against Brazil. And that means Marta and most of OL Pride. So it's essentially Gotham versus Pride at this point in my mind.
Right.
Yeah, there are other players there too.
It's Orlando Pride.
Yeah. But, as much as everyone wants Marta to be able to bring home a gold, Sorry, not sorry. Let's go, U.S. women. I think they've got a great shot here. They've faced some tough competition. They've had changes. They've had a lot of stuff thrown at them as we continue to try and develop this program. They do have lots of gold under their belt, but I think this year they get one more. But with that also, I do feel like we're going to see some resignation, some finals from people. I don't know how many people from the U.S. women's side are going to continue after this round of the Olympics. And that's kind of a sad point. So I want to go out on a high note with them, but let's talk about men's Olympics.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I think there's going to be, a fair amount of the older crowd of the women's soccer team having it be the crescendo. Right. It's going to be the end of the career. And what better way to go out than beating Brazil, beating Marta, beating the rest of the world, because that match against Germany was a tough match and they figured out a way to win, But as far as the men go, the men had a great tournament. Qualifying for it in the first place is always a challenge for the U.S. men. and then to have that under 23 team get as far as they did. Unfortunately, they did fall 4-0 in their last game, but you're looking at a team that has chock full of 20, 21, 22-year-old players that are both playing here domestically and in Europe, and they're getting the training. So while we didn't go as far in the last World Cup, I think this U.S. Olympic team is going to probably have between 4 and 5 guys on that next World Cup team easily.
Yeah, definitely. And as we look forward to the U.S., deciding on who our coach will be going forward for the men's side, I alluded to this earlier. I have a thought and theory for how U.S. soccer should develop. I would love to see U.S. soccer take on a true identity. And the way I envision this and the best form of U.S. soccer is one time, quick shots, high pressure, focus on speed, forget the accuracy. Let's go hard, go quick, and play for that corner kick and wrap it up with that. I don't know if we can do it, but that's my vision for U.S. soccer.
Yeah, I think the high press is the way to go. You saw it a lot in the Olympics. You saw it a lot in the World Cup. You saw a lot of it from a lot of the South American teams in the Copa America. It was that high press, but you got to get a guy to teach these Americans how to shoot the ball off a one-timer. And with that, Nina, how can people follow us?
Make sure you search Soccer in 60 and follow Empire Strykers. That's Strikers with a Y on Instagram and YouTube. Thank you for joining us on 1490 AM, 98.1 FM, and KMET. I'm Nina. It's been great being with you today.
Nina, hey, thanks for joining me. We appreciate it. Hey, everybody out there on the radio, streaming us and catching us on the podcast. I'm your host, Tim Colas. This has been Soccer in 60.